Alright guys, back in another video, and this time we're going to try to retake this video. I tried to do this earlier, and I almost got done, and then my internet crashed. Sorry about that. But we're going to make this a video a little quicker than I was going to originally because of time restraints. But first thing I want to talk about is PPG Dallas. So PPG Dallas just happened, and the meta was shook up a bit by the new format, which was introduced by Set 8 and Draft Box 4, obviously, along with it. But Draft Box 4 has been out for a little bit now, but people still struggle to get those cards because they are kind of hard to get. Just wanted to note. But Set 8 was an abundant, and it's the first weekend it was released for a tournament, and boom, it's already taken over the meta by storm. But it may be because it's new. People were trying to stay away from the older decks, and there was barely any Janemba. There was a lack of. It seemed like there was a lack of other decks that were normally being played. Not as much Shenron, even though Shenron's still playable. But we're going to get into it. First thing I want to talk about after that is my new Facebook page. You see here is Trey Fairclock Dash, TCG YouTuber. Pretty easy to find. We're trying to get to 500 likes, and then we're trying to go for 1,000. I know we can do it. And by the time if we get to 500 quickly, I'll be able to start the Razzes or raffles on the auction center. If you haven't joined the auction center, we're at 2,300 members plus, and the group is growing faster than anything. And there's over almost 8,000 posts in the last month. The group is extremely active, and if you haven't joined it, it's an awesome place to be in. And we have the best administration in the game, and we're trying to grow it even more. We'll probably need more admins soon, so if you're interested in that, please PM me. And if you have any experience, that helps as well. But if we get 1,000, we're gonna raffle, whatever you want to call it, off this thing right here. Turn power box sealed for $250. Split between 25 or 10 people, depending on how we want to do it. Thought it would be, they're about $500 on TCG Player, so half off price for that. It's pretty neat. You get a chance to win it for $10 or $25, whichever I end up choosing. If you're interested in that kind of thing, the main attraction is the auction, so where you easily can make your money and save yourself from TCG Player. Another thing I want to note before we get into TCG Player and the way the format got shook up by Set 8 and the money, we're going to talk about Rue 21. They have deals on Dragon Ball attire. John Moore, he alerted me of this, and from House of Champs, from Yu-Gi-Oh, if you know who he is. He got some cool shirts for him and his girl, and buy one, get one for 50% off. It's pretty neat, and yeah, save yourself some money and get some cool Dragon Ball shirts. Maybe for somebody for Christmas. Everybody likes Dragon Ball. And they have a lot of other shirts too, like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that too. And on Funimation, right now you can get the Dragon Ball anime stuff and Yu Yu Hakusho and more for extremely cheap. I think John said you can get the entire movie collection for $140. And Dragon Ball Broly, the new one, is like $6 and some change. So check those out. And then you can get the entire set of Super and more. But yeah, that's the main attraction for the sales right now. And you obviously can find more deals on TCG Player because it's Black Friday and Thanksgiving, etc. They start on Thursday for most places. Check here on the recently added if you want to try to save yourself some money. But we're going to go ahead and get into Set 8. So, Malicious Machinations. At first, I didn't think this set would be too impactful and there wouldn't be too many expensive cards in it. But I knew that some of these cards were pretty staple-ish, and we're going to go ahead and get into them. Because those are going to be the money cards at the end, the staple-ish cards. There are going to be some hype cards at first, and some of these cards are going to be cheap at first because it just came out. There's a mass abundance of these cards. Like, for example, these are best-selling cards. We need to go to high to low. There we go. So, we have the secret rares. Obviously, there's a market price of $150, $124, and $96 for the secret rares. But as you can see, Vegeta got bought out, and Baby Janemba is a little higher than the market price. But the main thing I want to talk about is the blue-green Broly deck that was played at the Dallas. The deck was pretty neat, and most of the decks that play a blue-green in package, it will be in the deck. But I don't expect these cards to retain this value. Radish Secret Rare is similar. It rivals for the same cost, and it has a very game-ending effect as well. But I don't think these cards should hold that much of value. This is not Victory Strike, and it shouldn't be anything near Victory Strike, so I don't expect them to maintain this price point. So I'd be weary of spending that much money on these secret rares. I do expect these are very good cards, but I do not expect them to stay above $100 in the end. So SBR, be careful with these as well. There are some pretty cards, very pretty cards, but the only one that I think will hold value for now is the SS4, mainly because it's a really good card, and the super rare itself right now is $19. The other ones, not so much. This card's pretty good, and I like all the higher price ones. SPRs are pretty decent cards, but be careful because they will drop in the end, because next set will shake up the entire meta again. Beerus, no holds barred. This is one of the ones I was thinking would be a staple-ish kind of card for the red-yellow decks, and along with the SS4. So, and this card's splashable, so be careful. This card may hold a value like high, but I don't know. These cards are pretty easy to get, but they're not that easy to get because they shook up the SR rates of 5 per box, but then you have SBRs and God Packs, so they're a little more hard to get than the older SR. So this price point may hold to around $15 each. Now, this Gohan Piccolo, it got bought out. This 10.50 cent market price is not very accurate. I think the last time I checked this price, they were $15 or $14. This card's very good, and I knew it would be very good. It's the only card I really, really want from the set for an SR, other than the Beerus, to be honest. See, the shipping here is kind of a trap. The lowest really is just $13, and then there's only one listing, and then the rest are 15 or more. So if you haven't got this card yet, I'm not sure if you should go ahead and get it for the $13 price point, because I don't expect it to retain that high of a price point. But I will say the card is very powerful, so if you haven't got them yet, probably try to trade for them. The other SPRs are pretty decent. I do want some Focus Breakthrough SPRs myself. It's a very good card, mainly for the Clash Crew deck. The Bulma SR is a pretty good card for that deck, but I don't expect it to hold that high of a price point. Bulma's not that good. All these SRs are pretty decent. Hachiak, I expect him to go up to $10 or so because he's very good, but I'm not sure if it will hold that. The cards I don't understand why the price points are so low for every set are these rares, the duels. They're $3 and $4, like $3 or $4. So, and they end up being 5s. These cards are very staple, and in other games these cards would be, even though they're rares and easier to get than other staples from other games, they should still be more than $4, in my opinion. Other cool cards to look at: this Raditz, underrated, and the new Hit, very underrated, but he is actually going up for $5 point. So if you haven't got those, try to get them cheap. And these new Villains rares and the Hero rares, I don't really like those cards very much. So, yep. And the starter deck foils are going to be kind of pricey, for depending on that the Goku there. But yeah, that's it for that set. I'm going to try to go to... This is actually pretty nice how they set this up now. Let's talk about... Oh, they changed it. Secret rares. I want to discuss this a little bit in this video because it's very important for people to understand, especially if you're trying to invest in this game. The Awakened Power and the Broly Secret Rare, and I guess currently you can talk about the signed cards and the Boo. The Boo is dropping. The signed cards are trying to maintain a price point, but they keep going down, up and down every time a new set comes out. But I expect them to hold their value of around $80 or so for the signed Goku, and then $60-something for the Vegeta. But for the Secret Rare Goku, I expect this card to hold value forever. I don't expect it to ever really dip below $300 unless people are just trying to get rid of them, and then they go back up to $300. So go ahead and get yours before it's too late. I don't expect it to be less than $300 long. Also, the Broly Secret Rare, it will probably drop to about $150. So I don't. It's kind of hard to get, but it's not as hard to get as is the Awakened Power. So I don't expect it to maintain $200 forever. Keep that in mind. Same for a lot of these cards. Some of these kind of cards are actually kind of cheap right now. This one's cheaper right now. This one's cheaper. And if you're checking the auction house, you can find some of these cards for super cheap. And you see here the Draft Box Goku and the Bardock Ape are really high for super rares, but they're really hard to get. But I don't expect that the Goku or the Bardock Ape to stay super high, but $40 is a fair place for them to sit until they get power crept, which is going to be very hard because those cards are very powerful. Domingo SDR is one of the cards I want to talk about, and the SS4 as well. SS4 just found its place. I think it's a very gimmicky thing, and I don't expect it to hold a price point over $40 for long. So if you have one, get rid of it now. It's pretty bad. Like I think that deck's cute, but I don't think that card's very good. So it's up to you. It's very gimmicky, but you can splash it in that deck if you really want to. But I wouldn't spend more than $40 on it. And the Migra, if you don't have yours, go ahead and get it. The card is always going to be pretty strong. It's only at 5 drop, and it has a very good effect, and it's very good. And then this card, I expected to maintain its value and probably go up because of potential playability in the future, and it's just a beautiful card, and it's Vegito, so it's pretty hard to get. So 1 per case. Signed cards as well. I don't understand why those Trunks and Beerus and all those cards are so cheap. Very, very hard to get, and eventually they're going to be very sought after. All these signed cards. So invest in some of these, and then some of them not so much. I expect the Dragon Balls to go down to 50. Power Patara set around 70. It's a very good card too, and it's very beautiful. And these prize cards like this, I don't know why they're so high, but I sold mine when I first got it for like 700. So yeah, let's go to a more set thing. So Draft Box 4 is probably one of the hottest things we've got in this card game, and it's very hard to get some of these cards. So Assimilate Ability, see it's one listing of 50 got bought out. The blue-green decks are mostly playing it. Broly deck's playing it. Janemba's playing it. A lot of decks are playing this. If you're playing green, you're probably playing this card. I didn't expect it to be that sought after, but currently it is. I'd expect it to go down back to $25 price point, but no, I don't expect it to stay that high. But it is very hard to get, so I still don't have a single one. The Super Saiyan Vegeta, this card's very good, but I don't expect it to stay too high, but 25 is actually a pretty disappointment because it's hard to get it. And Gala Cannon, 15 is actually a good price point to get that card. Especially this Ape here, if you don't have these, $15 is pretty decent, but I expect it to sit around that price point, so don't expect to get a deal unless you go to the auction place or a friend sells it to you. This card got bought out as well. Very good for the blue-green deck. It was like $6, now it's $12. So if you don't have them, I felt bad for you. As I said, this card would go down to 15. It did. It's going to sit around that price point. It's a very good card, and it will forever probably see play in niche decks or defensive decks. Topos, still hovering on 8 from last market watch last week. The card's super good. So the red yellow decks, if someone will be playing this card, but not much because Beerus is pretty much better unless you're playing Apes. So this card is still maintaining a price point. I don't expect it to stay too high. Probably go down to 8. Very good card, but not like super playable currently. Janemba sitting around 8 for the niche deck for the leader, and it's kind of splashable. Not that splashable, decent, like a Cyber Dragon. Chomping Beers has dropped a little bit, $6 now. Krillin's dropped, Krillin 18, and a lot of these rares are dipping down currently. Jiren's down to 4. Maybe feel like I should have sold mine now. Remote Series Bombs around $1 for a uncommon or common, and then you have very, very cheap cards in the set. There's for Measure Staple. Go ahead and get you some. Make sure you have them. Even though there are other cards that are similar to it, the card's very splashable, and it's blue, and it returns your own 1-drops. Your own cheap cards as well. They're blue. And yeah, a lot of these cards are just staple-ish, so if you don't have them already, Tag Team Trunks is probably going to hover around 15 as well. It's a good card. But Draft Box cards are very good. If you haven't been drafting, you're probably behind in getting these cards because they're expensive to buy other ways. So pulling them is a good point, and finding them in the auction center is very good as well. Trying to get yourself a deal. It's hard to get a deal on some of these cards. I think that's about it for the main set cards. I wanted to talk about promos. So some of these promos got bought out. Why is it doing that? Alright, we'll just go to this is the best way. So I'm teaching you a little bit about how to use TCG Player. I usually use it on my phone, so let's see, advanced search. I'm just gonna go to special sets, but promo cards are in a special thing called promotion cards. I just want to look at those. The Vegeta Baby, Super Baby 1 Parasitic Menace got bought out. It's like $50 online right now. Time regulars are dropping super hard. They're like $20, but I've seen them selling for pretty cheap online on the auction center. These event pack cards from Event Pack 5, pretty pricey right now, especially Videl. So negate blocker for Bulma. Super combo still kind of high. Gogeta's dropping for the promo here. It's like $13, but people still want it because they play that new Magnificent Collection deck. They got it spread out all over the place. So we got, if you got the Dragon Ball stamp cards, they're a little high. They're gonna drop eventually, but they're pretty high. And then you got Mutaito. He's starting to see a little more play now because that new deck plays. The baby cards get played really quickly. So, pretty decent card. I actually just got rid of 2 of mine, and I feel kind of bad now. But it was for a cool thing I did for the auction center, so I don't feel so bad about it. And a lot of these cards are just super cheap now. This Hatchet card is pretty good, so if you don't have these for the Hatchet deck, I think you only need like 2. So buy some boxes if you have to, and you get some of those basically guaranteed. And help out your locals. We got a gift box coming out soon. The alternate baby. It's pretty cool. And then it's got the Goku here. Path to Godhood. Neat. And a lot of cards just dropped. The Vampire cards aren't that expensive. So if you got some of these already, get them. Just go ahead and get them. Here's my Fuba's card that I would invest in if I were you guys. Pegasus Sacrifice. Good card to hold on to. And there's not too. And Dende's, that's a good card forever. So go ahead and get on those and your foiled Dragon Balls. A lot of these cards are going to hold value forever. And if you don't have your Goku Black promos, I don't see any currently. I don't know why they're not visible currently. But yeah, I have those foil, but those are hard to find. If you can find some Goku Black promos, you probably want those. But one thing I want to talk about, the meta. So this was the first event, and we had 2 game-changing decks. And I stated this in my last video. My last post on Facebook for the Dragon Ball group, that there are two decks that were introduced that warp the meta. Now, what I mean by warping the meta, I mean you got a really, really fast deck and a really, really slow deck that grinds the game. Now, one is supposed to keep other decks in check, and one is supposed to really make it's like a do or die situation where if your opponent survives through your onslaught, you're probably dead unless you have a topo. So it's pretty hard, and if you have the 2 energy to use the topo. So if you don't get to the point where your opponent survives your onslaught, you'll die. So people are going to learn how to play around it, but it still makes a big difference when you're deck building to be able to beat that aggro deck and have a lot extra negates and stuff like that. When those extra negate cards aren't very good against the grindy deck, so you have to pick and choose and learn how to charge correctly and make sure you're not playing no negates because you'll just die to the aggro deck. Or if you play too many negates, you're losing to the grindy deck. So, because the grindy deck doesn't care if you're negating his attacks really. He's not trying to kill you that quickly. He's just grinding you out of the cards. Then eventually you just die because I have a 20k leader and I can attack more times than you can in most cases. So, and I have blockers that are free basically. So, when you're building your deck now, is what I mean. It warps your format. It warps the format into a sense where either pick A or B and play either one of those decks, or play a Broly deck or a Pan deck and have to tweak your deck to the point where you can survive between. Just say pick your poison. So I've said this before. If you build Pan and your Pan deck has a pretty good matchup against the Hatchet deck, but it has a really bad matchup unless you draw Topo against the aggro deck, you can play that way. I'm not faulting you for doing that, and you might be aggressive back to the baby deck, but you need to make sure you're playing the correct sided cards for all the decks you can play against. So you're getting to a point where the side deck and your main deck are going to be shaped towards those 2 decks. But there are so many decks that people are still playing because in this game, it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where There's like 2 deck formats. There's a lot of decks being played, and are people willing to play those decks because they don't care. They just don't have make sure they're playing something they enjoy and they're comfortable with, no matter if there's some broken deck out or not. Even in Storm format, people are still playing Shinron and Janemba and stuff like that. Whenever those decks are still kind of slower than Storm, so pick your poisons. What I mean, you're gonna have to pick in your main deck to be suited to beating a more common deck, or you're gonna have to make your deck more all around to be able to deal with the aggro or deal with the grind. That's why a lot of my decks lately have been playing Shrouded Food and a decent amount of negates. But I play blue and I play beamed guaranteed. So if you're playing a different deck, it makes it really hard for you to defend against those attacks whenever you don't have D-Magic in every deck. You don't have Bean in every deck. So you have to be careful. And that's what I meant by warping the format. It makes you have to go back to play more negates or Muchaidos or things to make sure that they can't kill you so easily. And that's what I meant by warping the format. It's not making the format horrible. It just makes it to where you have to make your deck suited to play against both of those decks, and it's pretty hard to do so. So that's what I'm saying. You either pick your poison and build your deck to beat what you feel like you can see the most, or just make your deck well-rounded. It's pretty hard to make your deck well-rounded whenever you're trying to suit to a theme of being aggressive. So you can't really. You're gonna have to pick some the mid-range decks will come to a point where they probably be the strongest decks, like Broly decks, as they were already one of the strongest decks. So different Broly variants other than the blue-green one. I think that one's a little too slow for the baby deck, and Vegeta Cruel doesn't. Oh, Vegeta Cruel's kind of good against that deck, but we'll see. But thank you guys for watching the video once again, and I hope you like this episode of Market Watch. If you have any suggestions of what you want to see next time, or what you think is going to be helpful for you as a new player or as an older player and what you should invest in, I will make a video on what to invest in specifically in my honest opinion, and what to do with the cards that you really don't need anymore. And I'll see you guys next time.